Well, obviously, what a great challenge it was to play the second round of Oregon this time, and then Oregon State. It was just ironic that we kind of duplicated our what happened the first time. You know, the first time we played an unbelievable game against Oregon State and had a chance to win, and then turned around and couldn't recover and couldn't muster up any kind of much of anything against Oregon and got beat pretty soundly on their floor. And then this time we play a much better game against Oregon. We match their intensity. We were ahead at halftime. You know, just in a million ways played a better game and competed a better game. And then, you know, a little over 24 hours later, we emotionally came out real flat against a really solid Oregon State team, and did a lot of nice things. Defensively, holding them to 52 points is really a great feat. But we were just a shell of ourselves as far as emotionally and certainly our execution on the offensive end. So difficult weekend, hard to take a little bit, and it's made us really self-reflect and take a look at ourselves and know that we've honestly been through a really tough stretch of our season. We played 9 games, and 7 of those games were against top 25 teams, and 5 of them against top 10 teams, pretty much. So that's and we won the 2 games that weren't top 25. So we're looking at it from a standpoint that hopefully it's tested us. It's gotten us ready for what we're going to see in the next round, the next 9 games. And I don't think there's any less of a challenge in front of us, but I think we have some belief in us and confidence that we're getting better. We may not have shown it so much on Sunday, but I do think we can fix some things that hurt us as far as on the offensive end. And I think we're going to turn around and compete these next 9 games and put ourselves in position to win some games.
Thinking of the next 9 games, you're in the second half of the Pac-12. You do have a couple teams you haven't played yet, with the LA schools this weekend. Arizona's after that. What do you take as a coaching staff and as a team from those first 9 games, that first half? Like what do you build off of? What have you learned? What have you looked to change maybe as well?
Well, I think everybody at this point is trying to tweak things because everybody's scouting you a little bit more. So you have to add some things. You have to be, you have to understand people are scouting you and playing, to your weaknesses or making it harder for your best players to dominate the game. I think that's been difficult for Bobby to find room to operate. So I think the thing that we're taking away and the thing that really became apparent in the last couple of days of reflection was that we've really lost some of our spacing in our offensive game. We've shrunk the floor, and that's detrimental to us and who we have on our team. We don't have a ton of quickness, a ton of great ball handlers. We don't have a ton of great passers. And so when you shrink the floor, you just hamstring yourself. And I think we really have done that probably incrementally. It probably didn't just show up this weekend. It's probably been shrinking, and we just haven't made a big enough emphasis on getting back to where we should be and how to play off of each other. We've kind of became that, that you go to the soccer field with 6th graders or elementary kids, and they're all clumped together, and they're following the ball everywhere on the field, and that's what we look like a little bit. We've kind of become ball magnets, and it's really made it hard for us to play off, play in space. There's just no space to play in. So, I think we can fix that. We can fix some of those things. I think we've shown that in these first 9 games that we can compete with the very best of the people in this league. I think we've shown that if we execute well and if we stick to game plans and bring the passion and determination and the relentlessness on the defensive end, that we can be in games. And, for me, I think we're going to walk away right now as we stand and as we look forward is that we can present problems for everybody that we face. We have to be really good every time we step on the floor, but I'm excited about the fact that I think our players believe that. I think they know that we have to be our very best in order to do that. We can't show up less than our best, but I know they're excited about the opportunity before us, and we can take some things that we did well and build confidence on it, and we can fix some problems that we have, and that's the beauty of the league. Now we get almost different teams that we haven't seen before hardly, and I think some of the things that we do can cause them problems, and I'm certainly aware of the fact that they can cause us problems too.
Have there been any pleasant surprises in that first half of the season or first half of conference that you weren't kind of expecting or came about that you're excited about?
Well, I continue to be. I mean, I love the fact that 3 of our players, I think the weight of the world is on them. Bobby and Sweet and Nell, and I think that's got to be a pretty difficult thing on our team for those players, and they've responded unbelievably well for the most part. They've had their hard games and maybe not been their best at times, but again, it's hard to have to almost provide 20 points every time you step on the court, especially when people are scouting you and especially when we don't have the floor spaced well for you. So I love that they've shown up and they've been what they've been. I think they can be a little bit better and we can put them in better positions, and clearly we need them to be great. But I think that's a big ask of anybody, and so I give them a lot of credit for those players being as strong and consistent as they have been, and we've got to help them out to be a little bit more consistent for them. And the other people I think just have to keep building into the roles. I think I don't know that we've given them great support all the time, but I do trust that our freshmen are they're building some confidence and experience, and I think they're going to give us a better minutes as we go along, and that includes Mick Jones, who came in and started for us, and I loved her energy. I love what she brought to the court, so I'm excited about her getting that opportunity. We got Ula back today in practice, so we expect to have a little bit more depth in our post game, and I think she'll bring us some added lots of things. I think she adds to us and helps not make us so pigeonholed a little bit. So I like where we are. I like a lot of things that we've done. I'm disappointed a few times too. I don't think we've shown our best, but I know this is not a short-term fix, so we can't fix everything at once. Some of the things we have to fix are recruiting-wise and getting more pieces in, but I think we're going to bring great effort as we go forward, and like I said, I think our mindset is in a really good spot. I don't think we're 2-7, but I don't think this team feels like they're out of anything. I think they want to go into these next 9 games and really compete well and see what we can do and see where maybe we can get up the standings a little bit.
Specifically this weekend, heading down on the road to the LA schools, what do those 2 teams kind of present as matchups? I know we're not going to get into the specifics, but they're teams we haven't played yet in conference, so it's a new go, and they're right around us in the standings. So what do you expect out of these games? What's their style maybe that?
I know I said the whole thing about we've played the hardest part of our schedule, and then you go, yeah, all you have is UCLA and USC. And unbelievably hard matchups for us, in particular their athleticism, their playmaking ability. They can play out a broken offense pretty easily because they just have abilities to put the ball on the floor and go create baskets. They can get to the line and hurt you there and get you in foul trouble. They can change the game defensively. So both teams are really well coached. Have depth and some quickness issues that it's going to be hard for us to face, I think. But they also, I think, just like us, and just like pretty much everybody, I said that, and Oregon might be built perfectly, but everybody else probably has some holes in their game or weaknesses, and we have to find ways to, put points on the board more than anything. Again, offensively, we've got to find ways to score because you got to get to 70, you got to get to 75 in this league to even remotely have a chance, and you got to hope that you can, not let their best players beat you. But these are 2 teams that have a lot of talent across the board, and they have a lot of people that can beat you. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. We're going to have to keep great athletes in front of us, and we're going to have to rebound the basketball. And those are 2 areas that we haven't been great at. So big challenge, but again, I think we can present some problems to them as well if we play at our best.
If you looked at one thing on the box score, what would you say it would have to be to get wins? If you just saw one category, or what do you think outside of just bringing the energy and toughness? But what do you think? How do the Cougars win this?
I don't know if there's just one thing. I know when we've been our best, we've had high assist numbers. We've moved the ball well. Again, if we're dribbling around a lot, we're probably not going to beat a lot of people. We're probably not getting good enough shots to make those. When we move the ball and the ball moves and we get rhythm shots, we're usually pretty good shooters. And that's probably tied into, we got to keep our turnovers down. Got to get as many possessions and shots up as we possibly can. These two teams can create a lot of turnovers, so you got to get possessions. So I think that's tied in a little bit with assists. Turnovers got to be kept at a level, but I'd be crazy not to say rebounding against these two teams. If we get crushed on the glass, it's going to be a hard matchup. These guys, if they miss their first one, they're really good at getting their second one, and they don't miss those very often. So we've got to rebound the miss, and we've got to rebound from 5 positions to give ourselves a chance to win. So those are 3 things. But I think our team really takes a lot of pride in the fact that, and I think they understand that when we do say our assist numbers gets close to 20, we've usually had a really good night.